Welcome in everyone to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Everyone's out today. Had a busy Labor Day weekend. I was golfing yesterday, so got to get the show in today. We had a whale of a first of week one college football. A lot of great games to talk about. We will talk about those, get some NFL news updates, talk about the college football playoff 12-team format that we learned of after that announcement happened. And then we'll get into our Super Bowl picks and awards picks. And then we will give you our picks for the Thursday night kickoff game coming up in a couple of days. Bills, Rams. So, starting off on Friday, number 15, Michigan State, 35-13 over Western Michigan. Peyton Thorne was fantastic. 50%, not great, but he threw 4 touchdowns. Did throw the 1 interception, but overall a very good first game for Peyton Thorne in his second season as a starter for the Spartans. Jack Salopek for the Mustangs there. Not that great. 193, no touchdowns. Did turn the ball over once on a fumble. Sparty was able to run the ball all night with Jalen Berger, 16 carries, 120 yards, touchdown. He fumbled it once as well. And then Keon Coleman for Michigan State was your leading receiver, 4 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. A lot of great defensive performances in this game, but I'm going to go with linebacker Jacoby Windman for Michigan State. Crazy game for him. 7 tackles, 3 of them solos, 4 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss. Great game for Jacoby there. Michigan State, they covered minus 21.5, under 54.5. Old Dominion, the upset of Friday night, 20-17 over Virginia Tech. This one was at Old Dominion, so they had the home field advantage, got a last-second score, literally last-second scoring on the last play of the game to win it. Grant Wells, Marshall transferred to Virginia Tech. Not a great debut. 1 touchdown, 193, 21-36. But 4 interceptions, not what you want to see. He did score a rushing touchdown, 7 carries, 45 yards to go along with that. Hayden Wolf, not very good either for the Monarchs there, 14-35. That's only 40%, 165, and he turned the ball over, fumbling it once. Virginia Tech was able to run the ball very effectively. Keyshawn King, 19 carries, 111 yards, 3 receptions, 18 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Ollie Jennings, though, for Old Dominion, had the majority of Hayden Wolf's yardage, 5 catches, 122 yards. He put the ball on the ground, 1 fumble there. But defensively, Old Dominion was able to get the stops that they needed, led by linebacker Jason Henderson, 16 tackles, 2 solos, and a tackle for loss. My defensive player of the game, however, is Old Dominion safety Robert Kennedy III. 7 tackles, 1 of them solo, a half a tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a 25-yard fumble returned for a touchdown. Old Dominion +6 covered, under 48.5. Duke, my Blue Devils coming through for me on my lone wolf there. 30-0 at home over Temple. Riley Leonard looked fantastic. 24-30, 328, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Also ran it 11 times for 64 yards. I told y'all, Dwan Mathis is not good, people. And 11 for 21, 83 yards, and a fumble is not going to get it done at the collegiate FBS level. Now, North Dakota State transferred Quincy Patterson did not fare well either. 3 of 8, 37.5%, 31 yards. That's all Mr. Patterson did. Not much running game for either team. Leonard led the way in the game, but Duke's leading rusher, Jalen Coleman, 8 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown there. Jalen Calhoun, wide receiver for Duke, 6 catches, 90 yards. He was your leading receiver in the game. Defensively, my defensive player of the game is going to be I'm going to go with defensive tackle Aeneas Peebles for Duke. Only had one tackle, but he did have 3 QB hurries, so I like that stat there. Duke covered -9.5, easily under 51.5. The unders were crazy on Friday. All the games that we had picked went under on Friday's slate. Indiana 23-20 over Illinois. Another one I got right on Friday. Connor Bazelak, good game for him, 28-52. Not a great completion percentage, 53.8%. But he threw for 330 yards, a touchdown. Did have an interception, but ultimately did not cost them. Tommy DeVito, however, for the Illini, he turned it over twice, had a pick and a fumble, 21-35, 60%. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, also 11 carries for 13 yards. Chase Brown has been fantastic for Illinois through 2 games. 36 carries, 199 yards. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry on that game. Also caught one for 6 yards. Sean Shivers scored a touchdown for the Hoosiers. And then Cam Camper, what a great name. He had a 100-yard day. They had 200-yard receivers, did Indiana. 11 receptions, 156 yards. He fumbled it once, however. Again, did not come back to hurt them. Also for Indiana, 100-yard game, DJ Matthews Jr., 7 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown. The Illinois also had a 100-yard receiver, wide receiver Isaiah Williams, 9 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, I am going to go with the bottom guy, Illinois defensive lineman Derzon Newton, 5 tackles, 2 of them solos, a sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hurries. Indiana covered. That was a pick'em game, under 47.5. TCU, the Horned Frogs, getting it done in Boulder, crushing Colorado, 38-13. JT Strout was your leading passer in the game. Colorado, 13-23, 56.5%, 157 yards and a touchdown. None of the quarterbacks played very well. It's just the TCU quarterbacks didn't turn it over, and the Colorado ones, they didn't either, but just not as effective as the TCU quarterbacks and the TCU running game. But quarterback Chandler Morris for TCU, he led the way, 13 of 20, 65%, 111 yards, 4 carries, 18 yards. You also had Brendan Lewis in the game at QB for the Buffaloes, 13 of 18, very efficient there, but only 78 yards, 8 carries, 42 yards, very effective on the ground was Brendan Lewis. Max Duggan, the veteran, only had a short time in the game, but 2 of 3, 66.7%, 27 yards, 3 carries for 41 yards. Kendre Miller, your leading rusher in the game, 8 carries, 52 yards, a touchdown, also 1 catch for 1 yard. Emery DeMarcado, he scored a touchdown for the Horned Frogs, and so did freshman quarterback Sam Jackson, 3 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Your leading receiver in the game, Daniel Arias for Colorado, 4 catches, 66 yards. And what a game for Darius Davis, wide receiver for TCU, 2 catches, 25 yards, so not that effective in the receiving game, but he had a 27-yard rushing touchdown and a 60-yard punt return touchdown as well. So the more you can do, that's what we always say. Defensively, I'm going to go with linebacker D. Winters for TCU, 5 tackles, 4 solos, a sack, 2.5 tackles for loss, a pass deflection, and a quarterback hurry. TCU covered easily, -13.5, under 59.5. Saturday, what a day it was. Starting off with number 6, Texas A&M, 31-0 shutout of Sam Houston State. Haynes King was fantastic, 20-31, 64.5%, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gotta limit the turnovers, though. 2 picks in this one, 6 carries for 35 yards as well. Jordan Yates for the Bearcats here, 14-28, 50%, 91 yards. He threw a pick, also carried it 14 times for 60 yards. And then Max Johnson came in relief of Haynes King for the Aggies, 3 of 4, 23 yards, and 1 carry for 11 yards. Devin Achane led the way on the ground in the game. 18 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown for Texas A&M. Also 1 reception for 9 yards there. The Sam Houston could not run the ball at all. Leading rusher for them was a punter on a fake punt. Jaden Cardell, 1 carry, 18 yards for him. And then receiving wise, wide receiver Anaya Smith had a whale of a game. 6 catches, 164 yards. That's 27.3 average. 2 touchdowns. Also carried it 3 times for 11 yards. Great name, Yulkeith Brown for Texas A&M. 2 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I think I'm going to go with the top guy there. Sam Houston State's defensive lineman, Markel Perry, 7 tackles, 4 solos, and 3 tackles for loss. Sam Houston State covered, plus 34.5, under 54 easily. Number 8, Michigan rolling over Colorado State, 51-7. Your leading passer in the game. Quarterbacks did not throw for much at all. It was Michigan's running game most of the day. But Clay Millen for Colorado State, 16-20, 80%, very efficient, 137 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers, though, a pick and a fumble. Cade McNamara, not that great, 50% completion, 9 of 18, 136 yards, and a touchdown. Alan Bowman came in for Michigan as well, 5 of 6, 40 yards. J.J. McCarthy played for QB for the Wolverines. Also, 4 of 4, 30 yards, 3 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Blake Corum for Michigan led the way on the ground, 13 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown, 1 catch for 9 yards. And receiving wise, wide receiver Torrey Horton for Colorado State. He was your game leading receiver, 6 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, I'm going to go with Michigan defensive back DJ Turner, 2 tackles, both of them solos, a tackle for loss, and a 45-yard fumble returned for a touchdown. Michigan covered minus 31 and under 61.5. Hit. Okay, I'm mad about this game. Number 13, NC State, beating East Carolina 21-20. ECU had 2 chances to win this game, or 1 chance to tie it, a chance to win the game at the end. Kicker missed both, the extra point to tie it at 21, and he missed the game-winning field goal. Kickers, man, you have to have good special teams in order to win games. We saw it a couple times in a bunch of games this weekend. Holt Nailers was good. 25 of 41, 267, 2 touchdowns. Did throw 2 interceptions, 5 carries, 57 yards. Very good on the ground for him. Devin Leary wasn't that great. 17 of 33, 51.5%, 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The pick should have cost the Wolfpack the game. However, again, kicking is for losers, as Kelly in Vegas likes to say. Demi Sumo Karngbe led the way on the ground in this game. 14 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown, also a catch for 6 yards. The Pirates struggled to run the ball all day, pretty much, except for Ehlers' legs. The leader in receiving yards for the game, CJ Johnson, wide receiver for ECU, 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, there weren't tackle stats for some reason on this game. So a bunch of guys to shout out here. Corner Aiden White for NC State. He had 3 pass deflections. Safety Jair Wilson, 1 pass deflection and a pick. And then safety Sean Brown for NC State. He had the blocked punt recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. ECU cover plus 12.5 and under 51.5. Iowa over South Dakota State, 7-3. This is another game made me mad. Spencer Petras was terrible, 11 of 25, 44%, 109 yards and a pick. Mark Gronowski wasn't much better, 10 of 26, 38.5%, 87 yards. The running game were not that great either. LaShawn Williams led the way for Iowa, 24 carries, 72 yards. He fumbled it once, 2 receptions for 23 yards. Arlen Bruce, the 4th for Iowa's your leading receiver in the game, 5 catches, 68 yards. And then a whole host of defensive stats. I mean, you can pick anyone on this list and you wouldn't be wrong. Look, the only way South Dakota State lost this game, they got outscored in the second half 4-0. 2 safeties given up for the Jackrabbits, man. We were so close. I had them live money line. And you know, they should have got it done. At least took it to overtime 3-3, but they could not get the ball moving in the right direction. But to shout some people out, linebacker Adam Bach for South Dakota State, 13 tackles, leading tackler in the game, 6 solos. Great game for him. Jack Campbell, one of the best linebackers in the country for Iowa, 11 tackles, 4 of them solos, a half tackle for loss, a QB hurry, and he had the first safety in the game. And then defensive end Joe Evans for Iowa, 4 tackles, 2 of them solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. He had the second safety, sacking Mark Gronowski in the end zone. Also, defensive back Quinn Schulte for Iowa, 1 tackle, it was a solo, and 4 pass deflections for him. South Dakota State covered easily, plus 10.5, under 42 easily. Okay, very small print because we had a barn burner in Boone, North Carolina, home to Appalachian State. North Carolina gets the win. They are 2-0, 63-61 over Appalachian State. Look, this game was absolutely crazy. 62 points combined in the fourth quarter. One shy of tying the FBS record for most points in a quarter ever. App State scored 40 of those 62. Just crazy. They were down 20 points, 41-21 early, late in the third quarter there. But Chase Bryce, 25 of 36, 361, 6 touchdowns. Did throw an interception, 8 carries, 36 yards. And the freshman Drake May has been fantastic against FAMU last week, against App State this week. 24 of 35, 68.6%, 4 touchdowns, 12 carries, 76 yards, another touchdown. He had 5 total in this one. Did turn the ball over, which led to an App State score in the fourth, but did not ultimately cost them. 2 2-point conversions, not converted by Appalachian State. 1 to tie it one to take the lead, actually, at 56. It would have been 56-57 had they scored that one, and then 1 to tie it at the end at 63. They could not get it. Nate Noel, your leading ball carrier in the game, 14 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 17 yards for the Mountaineers there, App State. Receiving wise, crazy game. I mean, a million people scored touchdowns. Wide receiver Kobe Paceauer was your leader in receiving yards for the game, 8 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown for the Tar Heels. You had Deshaun Davis scoring for App State, JJ Jones scoring a receiving touchdown for UNC. App State had Christian Horn and Caden Robinson, receivers, scoring touchdowns. Tight end Bryson Nesbitt for UNC, 3 catches, 47 yards, a touchdown. Also had a 43-yard kick return touchdown on the onside kick attempt when App State was down 55-56. Tight end Henry Pearson scored for App, as did tight end Miller Gibbs. Christian Wells scored a receiving touchdown for Appalachian State as well. Defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy, linebacker Nick Hampton for Appalachian State. Crazy good game for him. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry. Appalachian State covered +3 and over 50, or UNC covered +3 and over 56 easily. Both teams 124 points in this game. Crazy game. Number 9, Oklahoma crushing UTEP 45-13. Gavin Hardison had a pretty decent game, 26 of 42, 244, no touchdowns, no turnovers. But OU's Dylan Gabriel transfer from UCF, 15 of 23, 65.2%, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries, 20 yards, and a touchdown. So 3 total in his Sooner debut. Quarterback Calvin Brownholtz came in for Hardison in the second half. 5 of 8, 44 yards, and a pick for Brownholtz there. Running back Eric Gray for Oklahoma, 16 carries, 102 yards, 2 catches, 33 yards for him. And running back Marcus Major for Oklahoma, 7 carries, 54 yards. He scored 2 touchdowns, also had a catch for 8 yards. Wide receiver Gavin Freeman was the leader, he had a 46-yard rushing touchdown on the day. And your leading receiver here, wide receiver Marvin Mims, 3 catches, 81 yards on the day. Tight end Braden Willis, he scored both touchdowns from Dylan Gabriel, 3 catches, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And again, I'm going with the bottom guy for my defensive player of the game, defensive lineman Reggie Grimes for Oklahoma, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry. Oklahoma covered -31, over under 58 pushed. Got him a little bit out of order here, but number 16, Miami absolutely annihilated Bethune-Cookman, 70-13. Bethune-Cookman's Jalen Jones actually led the game in passing yards, 11 of 20, 243 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, 6 carries, 15 yards. Tyler Van Dyke was absolutely fantastic, 13 of 16, 81.3%, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did have the 1 fumble. His backup, Jake Garcia, came in and was awesome as well, 7 of 7, 88 yards. 2 other quarterbacks throwing passes for the Wildcats, Bethune-Cookman, Walter Simmons III, 2 of 3, 9 yards and a pick. Tyrone Franklin Jr., 1 of 4, -3 yards, and a pick, 4 carries, 30 yards for him. Henry Parrish Jr., the transfer from Ole Miss, 14 carries, 108 yards, 3 touchdowns in his Hurricane debut, 3 catches for 25 yards as well. Thaddeus Franklin Jr., he scored twice on 9 carries for 78 yards as well. Terrell Walden, 5 carries, 41 yards and touchdown. Miami running game, absolutely electric in this one. Devin Perry led he scored 5 carries, 31 yards and a touchdown for Miami as well. The leading receiver in the game, wide receiver Xavier Restrepo, 5 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown for the Hurricanes. And defensively, got to go with defensive back Gilbert Frierson for Miami, 2 tackles, 1 solo, and a 32-yard pick 6. Miami covered. They covered -49.5, y'all. 49.5 they cover. That is absolutely crazy. Over 60.5 Miami by themselves. Here we go. Number 3, Georgia annihilating number 11, Oregon, 49-3. I did not see this coming. I thought it was going to be a closer game. But Georgia had other plans. Quarterback Stetson Bennett, fantastic game. 25 of 31, 80.6%. 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. He also carried it 2 times, 8 yards, and another touchdown. 3 scores for Bennett on the day. Bo Nix struggled once again, falling to 0-4 against Georgia in his career with Auburn and Oregon combined. 21 of 37, 56.8%, 173 yards, 2 picks, 8 carries, 37 yards. Carson Beck was great as well when he came in relief of Stetson. 5 of 6, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Kendall Milton, your leading rusher on the day, 8 carries, 50 yards, a touchdown. Also caught an 18-yard touchdown. Kenny McIntosh, while only carrying it 5 times for 18 yards and a touchdown, he also had 9 catches for 117 yards. So great receiving day for Kenny there. Ladd McConkey, your leading receiver in the game, 5 catches, 73 yards, touchdown. Also 2 carries, 16 yards, and another touchdown. So Ladd getting in the end zone twice, just like Kendall Milton did. Defensively, I'm going to go with defensive back Christopher Smith. Man, he was all over the field. Every time we looked up at the TV, he was making a tackle or a play. 6 tackles, 3 of them solos, a tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a pick. Georgia covered easily, -16, under 54.5. Number 19, Arkansas, getting the close one over number 23, Cincinnati, 31-24. Ben Bryant was very good in his Bearcat debut, 26 of 43, the Eastern Michigan transfer, 60.5%, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, did have 2 turnovers. The fumble was costly. 1 pick as well. Quarterback KJ Jefferson for the Razorbacks, 18 of 26, 69.2%, 223 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, also at 18 carries, 62 yards, and a rushing touchdown. He fumbled it once as well. Running back Raheem Sanders for Arkansas, your leading rusher, 20 carries, 117 yards, also caught 3 balls for 12 yards. Wide receiver Tyler Scott for Cincinnati, the leading receiver in the game, 5 catches, 77 yards. Tight end Trey Knox for Arkansas, he scored twice to go along with 6 catches for 75 yards. Defensively, Bumper's my guy for Arkansas. Bumper Pool, 13 tackles, 4 solos, and a tackle for loss. But I have to go with Cincinnati's linebacker Ivan Pace Jr., 12 tackles, 6 of them solos, a sack, and 3.5 tackles for loss. Great game in a losing effort for Ivan Pace. Arkansas covered -6.5 by the friggin' hook. I had Cincy plus 6.5, over 54.5 there. By the hook as well. 55 scored. Number 24, Houston, getting it done at UTSA, 37-35 in triple overtime. Frank Harris was great, 28 of 43, 65.1%, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have a pick, but he also carried it 8 times for 63 yards and another score. So 4 scores on the day for both quarterbacks, because Clayton Tune for the Cougars, 22 of 32, 68.9%, 206 yards, 3 passing touchdowns as well, 15 carries, 51 yards, a touchdown, and he had a fumble. So both quarterbacks, 4 touchdowns, 1 turnover each. Running back Brandon Campbell for Houston, your leading rusher in the game other than Frank Harris, 15 carries, 49 yards, 2 catches, 10 yards. Frank Harris and Clayton Tune, your number 1 and 2 leading rushers in the game. Brandon Campbell, your leading running back, however. Leading non-quarterback, I should say. Wide receiver Joshua Cephas and wide receiver Zachary Franklin, both 100-plus yards in the game. Cephas, 7 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Franklin, 10 catches, 100 yards. Wide receiver DeCorian Clark was also great for UTSA. 6 catches, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. For the Cougars there, wide receiver Nathaniel Dell, 5 catches, 50 yards. He scored 2 touchdowns. A lot of defensive performances in this game. I think I am going to go with defensive lineman Nelson Caesar for Houston. 3 tackles, a solo, a sack, tackle for loss, QB hurry, and he had a pick, the big man did. UTSA covered plus 3.5 over 62. Nebraska rolling North Dakota 38-17. Man, this one was close. UND was within range. They had a great first half, couldn't keep it going in the second, especially the fourth quarter, where I lost my live plus 19.5 because Nebraska decided to score 1 more touchdown. Kind of salty about that one. But Casey Thompson, 14 of 21, 66.7%, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. He turned it over twice, though. 1 pick and a fumble. Tommy Schuster, also not the greatest, 24 of 37, 64.9%, but only 131 yards, a touchdown, and he had a fumble as well. 200-yard rushers in the game. Running back Anthony Grant, whale of a game, 23 carries, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 1 reception for 0 yards. Running back Isaiah Smith for the Fighting Hawks, 10 carries, 104 yards, 2 catches for 5 yards. Receiving wise, Trey Palmer for Nebraska led the way, 4 catches, 82 yards. And defensively, I am going to go with defensive lineman Ben McNabo, for the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota. 5 tackles, 2 of them solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss. Nebraska covered, or North Dakota covered easily, plus 28.5, under 62.5. Number 21, Ole Miss, 28-10 win over Troy. Closer than a lot of people probably thought. Gunnar Watson was pretty good, 34 of 47, 72.3%, 275 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. Jackson Dart, not very good in his Ole Miss debut, taking over from Matt Corral, 18 of 27, 66.7%, but he only had 154 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a pick. Did have 4 carries for 40 yards as well. And then quarterback Luke Altmaier for Ole Miss. He came in late, 1 of 2, 50%, 13 yards. Although Dart didn't have a great Rebel debut, running back Zach Evans, transfer, I believe, from TCU, 20 carries, 130 yards, 1 fumble, 2 catches for 22 yards. He did have a good Ole Miss debut there. And receiving wise, Jabari Barber for the Trojans, 5 catches, 60 yards. He was your leading receiver. Defensively, I'm going to go with linebacker Kari Coleman for Ole Miss, 8 tackles, 7 of them solos, 2 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. Troy covered plus 21.5, under 57. Number 25, BYU crushing USF in South Florida, 50-21. Jaron Hall was great, 25 of 32, 261. That's 78.1%. 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick, didn't matter. 5 carries, 15 yards. Baylor transfer, Jerry Bohannon for the Bulls here, 17 of 30, 56.7%, 172 yards, 1 pick, 4 carries, 28 yards. So not great for Bohannon in his USF debut. Running back Christopher Brooks was great, replacing Tyler Algier in his first start as the number 1 guy in the backfield for the Cougars. 13 carries, 135 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception for 2 yards. Leading receiver in the game, Xavier Weaver for USF, 5 catches, 113 yards. Wide receiver Puka Nasua only had 1 catch for 22 yards, but he had 3 carries for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. So great rushing day for Puka there. And then wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr. for USF, 2 catches, 10 yards, but he also had an 89-yard kick return touchdown. Defensively, I'm going with linebacker Max Tooley, one of my favorite players for them. 5 tackles, 4 of them solos, and a 33-yard pick 6. BYU covered easily, minus 11.5 and over 58.5. Number 14, USC. Great first game for Lincoln Riley and co. 66-14 over Rice. Caleb Williams was absolutely fantastic. 19 of 22, 86.4%, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries, 68 yards. I mean, it does not get much better than that for a debut. Quarterback Miller Moss for USC came in relief of Williams. Also great game, 6 of 7, 85.7%, 81 yards, 1 carry for 10 yards. Quarterbacks for Rice did not fare as well. Wiley Green, 8 of 13, 69 yards and a pick. TJ McMahon, 6 of 15, 40%, 65 yards, and 3 picks. Running back Cameron Montgomery actually led the game in rushing yards for Rice. 6 carries, 99 yards for him. Running back Austin Jones, Stanford transfer to USC, 4 carries, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns, also had 1 reception for 21 yards. And then running back Ari Broussard, Jarek's brother, I believe, for Rice, 15 carries, 25 yards. He scored 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 26 yards. Leading receiver in the game, wide receiver Taj Washington for USC, 4 catches, 65 yards. Wide receiver Jordan Addison, Pitt transfer, 5 catches, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns for the reigning Biletnikoff Award winner. 3 pick sixes for USC's defense in this game. Linebacker Shane Lee, 8 tackles, all of them solos, 2 tackles for loss, a pass deflection, and a 40-yard pick six. Defensive back Kalen Bullock, 6 tackles, 4 solos, and a 93-yard pick six. And then linebacker Raylan Goforth, 2 tackles, both of them solos, and a 31-yard pick six. Crazy game for USC's defense. USC covered minus 33, over 61.5 USC by themselves. JMU, what a debut at the FBS level for them at home. Harrisonburg was popping 44-7 over Mid-Tennessee. Todd Centeio, Colorado State transfer, I think he is 21-33, 63.6%, 287 yards. He scored 6 touchdowns in his JMU debut. Absolute crazy game. And he also carried it 14 yards for 110. 14 carries, 110 yards. Just crazy production for Todd Centeio in his first game as a Duke there, JMU Dukes. 397 total yards, 6 touchdowns for him. Quarterback Chase Cunningham for Mid-Tennessee, the Blue Raiders, 18-32, 110 yards and a touchdown. Running back Percy Agi Obise for JMU, he led the way rushing, 15 carries, 82 yards as the highest non-quarterback rusher. Wide receiver Chris Thornton, great game for him for JMU, 12 catches, 155 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Reggie Brown for JMU, 5 catches, 78 yards. He scored 2 touchdowns as well. Defensively, I don't even know who to go with. There's a lot of great performances on here. I'm going to go with defensive lineman Jamree Chroma, though, for the Dukes. 4 tackles, 2 of them solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. JMU covered easily, minus 4.5, under 60.5. Florida upsetting number 7, Utah, 29-26. Absolutely terrible decision-making by Cameron Rising at the end of the game. You had the tie. You had the tie secured. The tying field goal was there. You're at the 3-yard line, 5, whatever it was, inside the 10. You cannot make that throw, young man. You threw it away on the first down play, right? Second down, you come back and you throw it to a guy that's falling back, falling down, and is triple covered, essentially. You cannot make that play if you are going to win a national championship or contend for one. I hope he learns from that, and I hope Utah comes back stronger because of this game, because they should. They should be a contending team this year, and they looked like it for this game. It's just the defense could not get stops when it needed to. The rushing attack for Anthony Richardson, Montrell Johnson, they could not stop that. And again, decision-making for Cameron Rising was not good in critical situations. But that said, Cameron Rising, 22 of 32, 68.9%, 216 yards, a touchdown, and the ill-fated pick. 7 carries, 91 yards for him. Anthony Richardson was great, 17 of 24, 70.8%, 168 yards, 11 carries, 106 yards. He ran for 3 rushing touchdowns. Running back Tavion Thomas is your leading rusher of the game, 23 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown for Utah. Tight end Brant Keithy, your leading receiver in the game for the Utes, 9 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, I'm going to go with the top guy in a losing effort, safety Cole Bishop for Utah, 12 tackles, 7 of them solos, a half a tackle for loss, and a QB hurry. Florida covered, plus 2.5, over 51.5. Number 10, Baylor crushing Albany 69-10. Quarterback Blake Shapen was just awesome. 17-20, 85%, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 4 carries, 11 yards, another score on the ground. Quarterback Reese Poffenbarger for the Danes, 13-26, 50%, 150 yards, a touchdown, 12 carries, 45 yards. And then quarterback Kyron Drones for Baylor, 5 of 7, 71.4%, 100 yards, 1 carry for 9 yards and a touchdown. Running back Richard Reese for Baylor, 9 carries, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. He led the way rushing on the day. Wide receiver Monterey Baldwin, he scored twice on the day, 2 catches, 46 yards, a touchdown, 2 carries, 46 yards, and a touchdown, 4 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Leading receiver in the game was Monterey Baldwin, but I'll shout out tight end Thomas Greeny, 3 catches, 57 yards for Albany. And defensively, I'm going to go with defensive lineman A.J. Simon for Albany, 2 tackles, 2 of them solos, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. Also got a shout out wide receiver Gavin Holmes, 72-yard punt return touchdown. Baylor covered easily. Minus 42.5, over 46. Baylor by themselves. Number 18, Wisconsin, 38-0 shutout win over Illinois State. Graham Mertz was fantastic, 14 of 16, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 87.5% completion. For Illinois State, the Redbirds, quarterback Zach Annexstad, 16 of 24, 66.7%, 186 yards. He struggled, 2 picks. Running back Braylon Allen was great. Great first game for Logan's Heisman pick. 14 carries, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Wide receiver Chimere DK for the Badgers, 3 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with safety John Torchio for the Badgers, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, tackle for loss, and he had a 100-yard pick 6, did Mr. Torchio. Wisconsin covered easily, or close. It was actually very close, 36.5 for them, under 42.5. Number 20, Kentucky, easy win over Miami, Ohio, 37-13. Quarterback Will Levis was very good, 21 of 32, 65.6%, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he did have an interception. Miami, Ohio quarterbacks, Brett Gabbert, 20 of 28, 71.4%, 166 yards, 10 carries for 28 yards. Quarterback Avion Smith, 2 of 4, 13 yards. Miami, Ohio's running back Tyree Shelton led the game in rushing, 7 carries, 50 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions for 13 yards. And then wide receiver Tavion Robinson, leading receiver in the game for the Wildcats, 6 catches, 136 yards. Wide receiver Barian Brown for Kentucky, he had 3 catches, 45 yards, and a 100-yard kick return touchdown. Great day for him. And defensively, I'm going to go with linebacker Jaquez Jones for Kentucky, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry. Kentucky covered minus 16, under 55. Coastal Carolina, what a game for them. 38-28 win over Army. Very, very good game was this one. Quarterback Grayson McCall was great. 12 of 17, 70.6%. Only 174 yards, but he scored 3 touchdowns. He also ran one in on 6 carries for 27 yards. The Army quarterbacks were throwing a lot more in this game than normal. Cade Ballard, and they were a lot more explosive too than I've ever seen Army. Cade Ballard, 3 of 5, 88 yards and a touchdown. Tyler, 1 of 3, 54 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Running back Tyrell Robinson was your leading rusher in the game. 9 carries, 135 yards, and a touchdown for Army. Running back Reese White, also great game on the ground. 21 carries, 133 yards, a touchdown. He also had 2 receptions for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. Reese White, 3 touchdowns in the game. My guy, love Jacoby Buchanan, running back for Army, 8 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown. Leading receiver in the game was running back Brahim Murphy for Army, 1 catch, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Leading receiver, non-running back wise, wide receiver Sam Pinckney, Georgia State transfer to Coastal, 3 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Running back Awan Marshall also scoring a 54-yard receiving touchdown for Army. Defensively, I'm going to go with linebacker Josiah Stewart for Coastal Carolina. 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry. Coastal Carolina covered easily, -1.5 over 54. Number 1, Alabama, no issue against Utah State, 55-0 shutout win. Bryce Young was awesome. 18-28, 64.3%, 195 yards, threw 5 touchdowns. Also, just to add on top, 5 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown for the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Other quarterbacks for Alabama, quarterback Jalen Milroe, 8 of 10, 76 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. 2 carries, 10 yards. Quarterback Ty Simpson, 1 of 2, 10 yards. Utah State also played 3 quarterbacks. Logan Bonner, 3 of 9, 39 yards. Levi Williams, the Wyoming transfer, 2 of 5, 15 yards. And Cooper Legis, 3 of 8 for 3 yards. Georgia Tech transfer, running back Jahmyr Gibbs for Alabama. A great debut for him. 9 carries, 93 yards, and 1 catch for 5 yards. Running back Jace McClellan had a great day for Bama as well. 5 carries, 23 yards, 2 catches, 25 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The wide receiver scoring touchdowns for Bama. Wide receiver Trayshawn Holden, 5 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Georgia transfer wide receiver Jermaine Burton, 5 catches, 35 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, I'm going to go with the number 1 guy there for Utah State in a losing effort, safety Ike Larson, 7 tackles, 3 solos, a QB hurry, and a pick. Bama covered, -42, under 63. Number 2, Ohio State, eking it out over number 5, Notre Dame, 21-10. Quarterback CJ Stroud, 24-34, 70.6%, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Quarterback Tyler Buckner, his first start for the Irish, 10 of 18, 55.6%, 177 yards, 11 carries, 18 yards. Running back Travion Henderson led the way, rushing in the game, 15 carries, 91 yards. Mayan Williams was also very good for the Buckeyes, 14 carries, 84 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception for 12 yards. Leading receiver in the game, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka for Ohio State, 9 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, I'm going with OSU's linebacker Tommy Eichenberg, 9 tackles, 6 of them solos, 2 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. Ohio State offense looked paltry in the first half. The Ohio State defense came to play in the second half. They ran it a lot more, did Ohio State on offense in the second half, got them the win. Pissed off they didn't cover, though. Because Notre Dame +17 covered, under 58.5. Oregon State, the nightcap. Great game for the Beavers. 34-17 win over Boise State. Chance Nolan was good. 14-23, 60.9%, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did throw 2 picks, not that good on that front, but 4 carries, 28 yards as well. Quarterback Talon Green really put a shock into the Bronco offense. 19-28, 67.9%, 155 yards. He threw a pick, but he also had 11 carries, 102 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, did Mr. Green. Quarterback Hank Bachmeier pulled early on in the second quarter. Hank, 4 of 8, 50%, 30 yards, 2 picks, and a fumble. Terrible first game. Quarterback controversy in Boise State now. Leading non-quarterback rusher in the game, running back Damian Martinez for the Beavers, 11 carries, 40 yards. Running back Deshaun Fenwick right on his tail, 10 carries, 39 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Tight end Luke Musgrave led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown for Oregon State. And defensively, I have to go with probably the guy that's a dual threat, linebacker Jack Coletto, 3 tackles, 2 solos, He also had 3 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown on offense. Oregon State covered easily, -1.5, under 55.5. Number 4, Clemson, rolling over Georgia Tech yesterday, 41-10. DJ Uiagalelei, not the greatest, but he got it done. 19-32, 59.4%, 209 yards, a touchdown, 13 carries, 28 yards, and another score. Quarterback Jeff Sims wasn't that bad. Not a lot of yards, 23-36, 164 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, 13 carries for 41 yards. And the guy that everyone's talking about because he looked fantastic, Cade Klubnik, 4 of 6, 50 yards, and a touchdown on his only drive in the fourth quarter there. Running back Will Shipley led the game in rushing, 10 carries, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 catch for 14 yards. And then receiving wise, wide receiver Nate McCollum for Tech, 6 catches for 55 yards, your leading receiver in this one. Defensively, I'm going to go with defensive lineman Keon White for Georgia Tech, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Also at the shout-out, safety Andrew Makuba for the pick, and safety Carson Donnelly and quarterback Billy Wiles on special teams, both having blocks of Tech punts. Clemson covered. It was -23.5 or 24. And then the over, I believe, hit. Or no, the under. I think the over hit 50.5. I think it was by the hook. I have to say, I forgot to put in the Florida State game here. That game was absolutely crazy as well. Florida State playing LSU in the all-state kickoff there. All-state Louisiana kickoff. Florida State getting it 24-23 on a blocked extra point. The Seminoles survived a 99-yard touchdown drive late from Jaden Daniels and the LSU offense. They are now 2-0 for the first time in, I believe it's 6 years. Jordan Travis was great. 20 of 33, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Seminole quarterback. On the other side, Jaden Daniels, 26 of 35, 209. He had 2 touchdowns, 16 carries, 114 yards, leading rusher in the game. Jordan Travis also 8 carries, 31 yards on the ground for him. Leading rusher, non-quarterback wise, was running back Trayshawn Ward for Florida State, 16 carries, 49 yards. Also chipped in 1 reception for 6 yards. Receiving wise, leading receiver in the game was wide receiver Ontario Wilson for Florida State, 7 catches, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game for him. Also scoring twice for LSU was Jerry Jenkins, wide receiver, 5 catches, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, I think I have to go with Florida State. Defensive lineman Jared Verse, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. FSU cover +4, under 51 hit in that game. Yeah, the under actually hit in the Clemson game, 51.5, -24. Clemson covered there. So NFL news, or college news, my bad, college news. We got the 12-team college football playoff format nailed down. It is the 6 highest ranked conference champions will get the first 6 seeds. The first top 4 seeds get buys. The next 6 highest ranked teams will be your other 6 teams. First round games are all played at home stadiums, so we will have college football playoff games on campus. Going to be electric. Crazy how the home field advantages will work in that system. Week 2 AP poll came out today. We have, of course, Alabama staying number 1. UGA jumping Ohio State. They moved to number 2, also picked up 17 first place votes now. Bama has 44, and Ohio State has 2. So Ohio State moves down to 3. Michigan up 4 spots to number 4. Clemson down to number 5. Other movement throughout the top 25. Oklahoma moves up from 9 to 7, up 2 spots. Notre Dame moves down 3 to number 8 from number 5. Baylor moves up 1, 10 to 9. USC up 4 spots, 14 to 10. Oklahoma State up 1 from 12 to 11. Florida, massive jump for them, beating Utah. They move up in the rankings for the first time this year, starting out at number 12. Utah moves down 6 from number 7 to 13. Michigan State and Miami both move up 1, 15 to 14 and 16 to 15. Arkansas up 3 from 19 to 16. NC State, they moved down 5 after their 1-point win over ECU. They moved down from 13 to 18. Wisconsin, 38-0 win over Illinois State. They moved down 1 spot, 18 to 19. BYU up 4 spots, 25 to 21. Ole Miss and Wake Forest both down 1, 21 to 22, 22 to 23. Tennessee in the rankings for the first time this season at number 24. And Houston moves down 1 spot for their triple overtime win, 37-35 over UTSA, 24 to 25. Oregon and Cincinnati, they both are kicked out of the rankings. Oregon all the way from number 11 and Cincinnati from 23. NFL news, the Steelers, they are going to retire running back Franco Harris's number 32 jersey at halftime of their Week 16 game versus the Raiders. Fitting that it's against the Raiders. Obviously, the immaculate reception for Franco, one of the greatest plays in NFL history against, at that time, the Oakland Raiders. The Lions, they have placed offensive lineman Halapoulivaati Vaitai on IR. He is now out at least 4 games, gives him a chance to return this season. Some injury news. Saints rookie offensive tackle Trevor Penning. He got good news. He will have a chance to play probably starting around early November. Originally was said to be missing the entire season. But good news for the Saints and Trevor Penning. Also good news, Jets quarterback Zach Wilson, he had a workout this week, and he has an outside shot, head coach Robert Saleh said, of actually playing week 1 at home against the Ravens. So crazy that we could possibly see Zach Wilson week 1. Eagles offensive tackle Andre Dillard, he underwent surgery for his broken forearm. He's going to be out about 4 to 6 weeks. Head coach Nick Sirianni said they do have a plan for that. Or offensive coordinator Shane Steichen said they do have a plan for that, and obviously did not divulge what that plan is. The Cowboys, they have gotten some offensive tackle reinforcements after Tyron Smith went down. They signed offensive tackle Jason Peters to their practice squad. They are going to ramp him up and get him up to speed, and then he will be elevated to help out their left tackle situation. The Panthers, they got some defensive line help. They signed defensive lineman Henry Anderson. Loved the move. Very underrated, his time in Indianapolis and New England. The Steelers, we had the answer to their week 1 starter at quarterback. It will be Mitch Trubisky under center week 1 against Cincinnati. Kenny Pickett, the backup, Mason Rudolph, the 3rd quarterback. The Bucs hosted Raiders linebacker Kenny Young for a visit. They are looking into possibly getting some reinforcements in the middle of their defense there. It is Super Bowl picks time. Here's our final pick standings, though, from last year. Mark finished first. He got me by 3 games, 42-17. Great record for Mark there. 39-20 for myself, and then Chris, 39-20, I believe, as well. 38-19, something like that. But starting off, here are our brackets for our Super Bowl selections. So we'll take you through them real quick. Logan's AFC bracket: Bills the number 1 seed, Bengals number 2, Chargers win the AFC West at number 3, Colts win the AFC South at number 4. Ravens get in at number 5. They will play the Colts. Chiefs at number 6 will play a divisional game against the Chargers. And I just put in my next highest rated ranking player there. And actually Logan sent, he does have the Raiders, number 7. He actually switched the Chiefs and Ravens. Chiefs 5 playing the Colts, Ravens 6 playing the Chargers. And then he does have, we'll get to his 7th team in a minute with the NFC. But yeah, I put the Raiders in for 7, and it actually was his 7th there. So that is his starting bracket. Wild card round games: Bengals win, Chargers win, Colts advance. Top 4 seeds advance to the second round. Bills Bengals would be a fantastic playoff game, similar to Bills Chiefs last year. Chargers Colts, I think, would also be a very good game. Divisional round wins: Bills advance to the AFC title game. So do the Chargers. Very popular picks for everyone out there right now. Bills Chargers. My AFC bracket: I have the Bills finishing as the number 1 seed in the AFC, 14-3 record for me. Chargers at number 2, they're 12-5. Colts 11-6, then winning the AFC South. 10-7, the Bengals win the AFC North. They will face a rematch in the playoffs. Raiders get in at 11-6. Broncos in at 6, at 11-6, and the Chiefs, the entire AFC West. Yes, I have that happening. 10-7 for Kansas City, sliding in. They actually slid into the playoffs over the Dolphins, who also I have finishing 10-7. So I have the same thing. All 4 top seeds advance. Bills get to play the Chargers. Colts play the Bengals, so I cannot have the Chargers Bills play in the AFC title game. But I do have an upset. The Bengals, the reigning AFC champs, they beat the Colts. They go back to the AFC championship game. They have to go to Buffalo to play that game. Bills Chargers would be an absolutely crazy one. I just have it a week earlier than Logan does, and I have the Bills Bengals a week later than Logan does in my AFC bracket. Now, my NFC bracket, Logan and I both have the Packers as the number 1 seed in the NFC, just based off what their schedule and their division holds. 13-4 for Green Bay in this scenario. Matt LaFleur, another 13-win season. That's all he does, is get 13 wins in a season. I have the Saints finishing as the number 2 seed. They win the NFC South. Love Jameis Winston coming back from an ACL this year, and what they have on offense. Mike Thomas back at receiver. They have a great offensive line, and their defense is great as well. 12-5 for me. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, sir. The Eagles winning the NFC East at 10-7 in the 3rd seed. The Rams win the NFC West again at 10-7 as the 4th seed. Bucks, they get in as the 5th seed, 11-6 for me. The Cowboys, actually, I have that mixed up there. The Cowboys would be the 6th seed at 10-7, and the Niners would get in at 9-8 in the 7 seed. So Niners would play the Saints. Cowboys would rematch with the Eagles for the 3rd time. That would be in Philly. However, it doesn't matter to me really because I would have the Saints and the Eagles advancing either way. The Saints had to go to Green Bay. The Eagles host the Bucs in a rematch from last year. I like that matchup there. Saints win. Eagles win. Eagles go to New Orleans to play the Saints for the NFC Championship game. Packers playoff woes continue. And the Eagles get revenge on Tom Brady and the Bucs in the playoffs this year. Logan's NFC brackets, number 1 team here. He did have the Cowboys. I just slotted them in there because they were my next highest win total team that he did not have initially in his 6 seed bracket. But the Packers are his number 1 seed as well. Rams for him go number 2. Bucs win the NFC South in his scenario, number 3. Eagles win the East at 4. Niners come in at number 5. Vikings, interesting pick for him at 6. And the Cowboys get in at 7 as well. Wild card round wins 1, 2, 3, and 5. Same thing I had. The Rams head to Green Bay to play the Packers. The Bucs host the 49ers in Tampa. Divisional round weekend, the Packers, Bucs win. They are your NFC Championship matchup. Bucs head to Green Bay to play the Packers. Logan's Super Bowl and Championship weekend here. Bills, Chargers, Packers, Bucs, your final 4. He has the Bills and the Bucs playing in Super Bowl 57 with the Buffalo Bills, the current favorite to win the Super Bowl, as his Super Bowl 57 champion. Now, this is a homer pick, but I kept telling people I had a dream last week that it would happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I've been saying it all along. The Eagles have a chance. I have the Bills-Bengals, Saints-Eagles in the title games. Bills play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and the Philadelphia Eagles are your Super Bowl 57 champion in my eyes. I was right on Georgia last year. I'm not saying that I'm an oracle, but I am saying that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year, and you should bet on them because you can get great odds on them, I think, right now. Coach of the year. So, yeah, Logan's doing a homer pick again with his Packers. Head coach Matt LaFleur. That's not a bad pick. I mean, the man, like I said, all he does is win 13 games in a season. I am going with one of my other teams in the NFL of my 3. I could go with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is a great pick for coach of the year, but I'm going to go with Mike Tomlin. I think he doesn't deserve enough. He doesn't get enough credit for what he deserves coaching this Steelers team. And I thought he should have won coach of the year a couple years ago. They went 8-8 when Big Ben went down in week 2 against the Seahawks. They went 8-8 with Josh Dobbs, Mason Rudolph, and Duck Hodges under center. And they almost beat the Bills at home that year, which I was there for that game. So, yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin, I love the odds. I got him at plus 2,500, 25-1. I think you can pencil him in. They're going to have a winning season. I don't understand why people like the under wins for the Steelers. The man does not do losing seasons. Even if they do have a losing season, right? It's not going to be under 7 wins. I can tell you that. It's going to be right there on the cusp of a winning season. It's going to be 8 and 9. But I have them at 9 and 8. I think they're going to have a winning season once again under Coach Tomlin, and they're going to have a decent season. Comeback play of the year. Logan likes Robert Woods. That's an interesting selection. I haven't heard many people talk about Robert Woods as comeback play of the year, but he has a great opportunity in Tennessee, even with their run-heavy attack. Number 1 wide receiver right off the bat while Traylon Burks works his way into the NFL as a rookie. I'm going with my guy, though, Jameis Winston. I've been telling people all off season, the Saints are going to make a lot of hay this year, and I have them winning the NFC South at 12-5, and being the number 2 seed in the NFC. I think Jameis is set up for long-term success. He was looking great last year until he went down with the torn ACL. And I think he's going to come back and be better than ever with some help on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Logan likes Kenny Pickett. I was going to go with him. I have a bet in on Kenny Pickett to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's going to be tough. Not sure when Pickett's going to get in as the starter. So with that, I don't like that avenue to win the award. There's other guys like my guy on the left here, Dameon Pierce. He has a great opportunity. They cut Marlon Mack, right? So it's him, Rex Burkhead, and whoever else. But I think Dameon Pierce is going to have a great season. He's going to be a league winner, I think, for fantasy wise. And yeah, I think he's going to have a great season and put up enough numbers to rival the other guys he's competing with, guys like George Pickens, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, all the receivers, etc. So yeah, give me Dameon Pierce and the Houston Texans for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yes, I'm going back to Houston. 2 Texans winning the Rookie of the Year awards. Why not? I looked at the odds on DraftKings and I was like, I don't really like a lot of these odds. And a lot of them are just too square for me. So I'm going to go Derek Stingley. Why can't he win Defensive Rookie of the Year? He's a ball hawk. He was at LSU. I didn't really believe in him too much coming into the draft, but I think he's in a great situation. He's going to start right away on the outside for Houston, and he's going to play against some good competition in the AFC South against Michael Pittman, Alex Pierce for the Colts. He's going to have to play against Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones for the Jags. And against the Titans, he's going to have to face Robert Woods and Treylon Burks. So I think he's going to have a good opportunity to have a great season, and we'll see where things stack up at the end. Logan went with the square pick, the favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year right now, Aiden Hutchinson. I think that's a great pick as well. I think he has a very good opportunity in Detroit as the starting defensive end there and should put up enough sacks to win the award. I think he probably will, but we'll have to wait and see how that Lions defense looks and how teams scheme up against Aiden Hutchinson with not a lot to worry about on the rest of the defensive line. Offensive Player of the Year. Logan likes Justin Jefferson. I really can't disagree with that pick. He is the only player to have 3,000 plus receiving yards in his first 2 seasons combined. Now, Jamar Chase could match that this year. He has, I believe, 1,455 yards last year, so needs a massive year, does Jamar Chase, in order to get over 3,000 yards like Jefferson in his first 2. But I'm going to go with the guy that won it last year. Or I believe he won it last year. I can't remember if him or Cooper Kupp won it. Maybe Coop did. But anyways, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, it's a square pick. But he should have a great season for Indianapolis, especially with Matt Ryan taking some pressure off of the running game. I think the passing game should help Taylor. And the increased role of Nyheim Hines that they've been talking about, I think will keep him fresher. He'll get a little bit less of carries, but I think he could be even more explosive than he was last year. I don't think he's going to have the type of season he had last year, but I'm not saying he won't. He definitely has the potential to do that. And I don't know, Nyheim Hines' increased role could cost him, but I like JT and we're going to roll with him. Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I gave Mark Aaron Donald here because he's a Rams fan. So I hate putting Aaron Donald in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation because he's in it every year. So whatever. But Logan likes Myles Garrett. That's also another square pick for Logan. The current odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not so sure. Look, they have a great defense in Cleveland and a great defensive line with him and Jadeveon Clowney. But Yeah, I just don't like it. I went with an outside pick, a linebacker who hasn't won it in a while. It's usually edge rushers or Aaron Donald. But why not Shaquille Leonard? I think Shaquille Leonard will have a great season for Indianapolis. Should be all over the field for them. And I just like him because, it's an outside pick, it's out of the box, so why not? Go Shaquille Leonard, new name. MVP. Mark likes Russell Wilson, should have a great season in Denver, but he's going to have to face this guy on the left here. Logan and I are in concurrence. We love Justin Herbert to win MVP this year. I've been saying it all summer and off season, preseason, all the whole time this year. Justin Herbert will win MVP. He is going to have an electric season. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards, and he's going to probably put up 40 to 45 touchdowns, I would say, in this offense. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Josh Palmer is a breakout candidate, possibly. They just got Sony Michel to help in the running game as well. Yeah, I think Justin Herbert is going to have that year 3 breakout that most quarterbacks do, and he's going to win MVP. Book it. Thursday night football, the week 1 season opener, Bills at the Rams. It is a 2.5-point favorite for Buffalo on the road in LA at the defending Super Bowl champs. I gave Mark the Rams because he didn't give me a pick, so he's going to lone wolf his team and the Rams. Logan and I are on the Bills. Look, Josh Allen, they have a great offense. I am scared about the defense without Tre'Davious White and the suspect secondary corner-wise without him. But they do have Kaiir Elam, who they drafted in the first round. They have some other guys that can cover, Teron Johnson, etc. And the safeties are still there. Jordan Poyer, they said, should be good to go. Micah Hyde is there still as well. So I think they're going to be okay. Allen Robinson, while he is good, I don't know if he's as good as Odell Beckham Jr. in terms of just speed-wise and agility-wise. So I think they'll be able to cover the receivers. Cooper Kupp's going to give them an issue like he always does. But I think the Bills can win it. Their offense is going to be a lot better than the Rams' defense. They have a good offensive line. They should be able to control Aaron Donald to the most that you can control Aaron Donald. Take care of Leonard Floyd on the outside with some chips, and the Bills are going to get it done. I don't know if they're going to cover 2.5. It should be a close game, 2 very good teams, but Logan actually likes Bills 37-28, so he does like the Bills to cover in that game. The over-under here is 52.5. I probably say the over, and Logan is in agreement with that, with having 65 points in his book there. This one is 8:20 Eastern on NBC on Thursday night. Alrighty, next week we'll be back on Monday breaking down all the college football from the weekend. We will also have week 1 NFL games to talk about what all went down, who won, who lost, what were the key talking points for each game. And then, of course, we will preview the Monday Night Football matchup to end week 1. Russell Wilson heads back to Seattle, and the Thursday night matchup, week 2 kickoff, AFC West divisional showdown, Chargers at the Chiefs. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. At FAA_bets is our official betting Twitter account there. We'll be putting our pick up for the Thursday night game probably tomorrow, maybe after the show. We'll have to see when that comes out. And then obviously check out our website as well, faapodcast.com. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you back on Football Friday.